Even though you're my son's wife, you're just a stranger. If you can't get pregnant, then get lost. My mother-in-law Janice said that and tried to get rid of me. I didn't care about anything anymore. Thank you for everything you have done for me. I haven't done anything since you're just a nuisance. Disgusted by Janice, who was being terrible until the end, I packed up my belongings. But as I was about to leave, I heard a voice behind me.
That's enough. Don't you think it's embarrassing of you to abuse her like that?
My name is Mara. I'm a 32-year-old office worker. My husband Keith and I have been married for 3 years. We met through work. He was my boss, and I admired him very much.
Mara, your proposal is very well organized. Keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Every time he complimented me, I felt very happy, and it made me want to work even harder. And then I started working hard, and because of that, I was allowed to work on a project with him. That project brought my husband and I much closer together. Then we became friends at the office party, and he started asking me out on dates. After a few more dates, he confessed his feelings for me, and we decided to go out. We were 5 years apart in age, but we were on the same wavelength, and I felt very comfortable with him. So I always wanted to marry him. We had been dating steadily, and about a year and a half into our relationship, he proposed to me.
I don't think our age difference matters. That's how much I love you, Mara. You're the only one for me. So, please, marry me.
I also think you're the man of my dreams. I want to marry you as well, Keith. I don't care about our age difference.
Thank you, Mara.
He gave me a ring, and we got married. I was so happy that I was going to marry him. Then we greeted each other's parents, had a meeting with both our families, and had a successful wedding ceremony. Since we were romantically married at the same workplace, many people from our company came to celebrate our marriage. But since we had originally kept it a secret, many people were surprised to hear that we were getting married. Some even said they still thought that it was all a prank. And after a memorable wedding, my husband and I started our new married life. After we got married, we continued to work for the same company. But my husband was transferred to a different department as the department head. As expected, it was not possible for a married couple like us to be in the same department. Of course, work is work, and I am doing my best to get results. I want the company to expect more from me, just as my husband does. And therefore, when I come home from work, I often talk about work with my husband during dinner. But I don't mind that at all. In fact, I am happy to hear valuable opinions from someone who used to be my direct boss. My husband also says that by listening to me and sharing his views and opinions, he is able to reorganize his mind and make use of them in his current department. And of course, on our days off, we spend our time relaxing and forgetting about work. Since we both work hard at each other's jobs during the week, we do our chores together on Sundays. When we do them together, the chores are finished in no time. And since we're able to talk with each other while doing it, it's really fun. We were happily married, just like that. But now, 3 years into our marriage, things are changing a bit. My father-in-law, Andy, hurt his legs and needs nursing care. This meant that Janice had to take on the burden of nursing care and housework all at once, so she contacted my husband to ask if we could move in with her.
My mom insisted that idea.
Does that mean I have to do either housework or nursing care?
She'll mainly do Dad's nursing care, and I will help her.
So you mean housework then? I can't stay home during the weekday because I'm out working. You're not asking me to quit, are you?
Of course not. I checked with my mom. She said she doesn't care if we're working. She's just happy that we can live with her.
I see. Well, it must be tough to take care of the house and take care of Andy all by herself.
Yeah, that's why I want to help her. Of course, if you don't want that, we don't have to do it, you know?
I was really troubled when Keith said that. But it's not like I was bullied by Janice before or anything like that, so I thought it was okay. Yes, it's fine. Let's move in together.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, as long as I can support Andy and Janice as much as possible while working.
That's good enough. Thank you so much.
My husband was very happy to hear that. I guess he was happy to be able to help his own parents in their time of need. My husband immediately contacted his mother. It seems that Janice was very happy to hear that we agreed to live together. I was glad if Janice was happy like that. My husband and I had been living in a rented apartment, but we filed for termination and moved into my parents-in-law's house.
Hi, Mom. I look forward to living with you here from today.
Keith, I'm so glad you're here. I really appreciate it. This is how our life together started. At first, there were no problems. Janice basically devoted herself only to nursing care, and my husband and I took care of the housework. I think we all cooperated with each other and were able to live well together as a family. However, gradually, Janice began to reveal her true nature. Hey, Mara, you work every single day, but why don't you think more about your position as a wife? Huh? You should be ashamed of yourself, even making Keith do the housework. Well, my husband allowed me to continue working before we moved in together. I'm told that's what he also told you, Janice. So what? Of course, I'd only accept that. But actually, I really think it's absolutely necessary for the wife to quit her job and devote herself to her family. Normally, you should take into account about my wishes and become a housewife yourself, right? Excuse me? I was surprised to hear such a thing from Janice all of a sudden. You should quit your job and concentrate on housework. Janice glared at me as she said so. From then on, I began to not like Janice. I guess I had let my guard down because she had been kind to me when I greeted her at the time of our marriage and at our wedding. I guess this is the true nature of Janice. After that, she began to bully me without letting my husband or Andy know about it. The meal you made today tasted so bad. Are you feeding those kind of meals to Keith like that? I feel sorry for Keith. That's how Janice would call me out, saying that what I cook is bad. In addition to those insults, Janice has also been questioning me quite a bit about me being pregnant or having kids. Since you've been married for 3 years, wouldn't it be normal for you to get pregnant with a child or two? When I was your age, I already had Keith. You can't cook, you can't do housework, you can't have kids. You're a total mess. What the hell is the point of Keith marrying you? Janice makes fun of me like that. I try not to listen to her as much as possible, but sometimes, when I am stressed out, I respond to her terrible criticisms. I still didn't talk to my husband about it until the last minute. My husband was very busy at work at the time and worked overtime every day. He probably wants to concentrate on his work now. I was so concerned about my husband that I couldn't say anything about this. However, after that, Janice's bullying gradually became worse.
Mara, there are some ingredients I want you to buy on your way home from work.
I understand. I had no choice but to go shopping after being told so over the phone. But when I came home, dinner was already ready, and my in-laws and husband were having dinner together.
Oh? Mara, you are late.
Well, I guess we did have enough ingredients.
Oh, you are so thoughtful to look into the fridge. Thank you. That's very helpful.
Janice was so determined to get the ingredients from me. I guess she didn't really need to buy the food, but wanted to eat dinner without me. Janice tried to exclude me in this way many times. When I tried to order delivery, she tried to order a menu item that I was allergic to. And when I was out running errands, she suggested that we eat out as a family. And of course, she still complains about my housework and insists on asking me if her grandchildren are here yet. I decided to think that she's a helpless person. Once I decided to think of her like that, strangely enough, Janice's bullying didn't bother me anymore. And I was able to talk to my husband about it in an open and honest manner. When I told him about the treatment I had received from Janice, he turned pale.
Was she doing such terrible things to you? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Why didn't you talk to me about it instead of keeping it to yourself?
I am sorry. I didn't want to cause you unnecessary worry. But I've been doing okay lately, so don't worry about it.
Really? I'll strictly warn my mother about this.
No, she'll be even worse with me if you do that. I don't care about anything anymore, so don't worry.
Is that so? Well, that's good, but...
I said that to my husband because I really thought so. But then, Janice took an unexpected action. Huh? It seems like some of my bags and clothes are missing. When I opened my closet, there were fewer bags and clothes than there should have been. Moreover, only my favorites were missing. Did I move them somewhere else? No, I would never do that. Where in the world did they go? As I stood in front of the closet, Janice spoke to me from behind.
What are you doing?
Oh, Janice.
What? Are you thinking that you're missing some bags and clothes?
Huh? Oh, yes. Obviously, they're missing. Did you do something to them, by any chance?
No. How dare you suspect me like that? How much do you hate me?
You're the one who always picks on me, though, right? Andy and Keith would never do that.
How terrible. How can you treat me like I'm the only one who's bad?
So, it wasn't your fault then, Janice?
I did it.
What? So, she did it?
I sold the brand name things you had.
What? You sold them? Why would you do such a terrible thing?
Because you were using Keith's money to buy all those branded items, weren't you? You're spending too much money. As a punishment, I had to sell all of them. And the money from them will go to the living expenses of this house.
Unbelievable. Why would you do such a terrible thing?
It's because you're useless as a wife. Don't you think so? You never get pregnant.
But these things happen naturally.
Then get out of my house. There's no point in staying here if you're not family and you can't even have kids.
I'm married to Keith, so I'm part of the family.
Even though you're my son's wife, you're just a stranger. If you can't get pregnant, then get lost.
That's what Janice would say, and tried to get rid of me.
I don't need you either.
I see. Then I'll leave. I didn't care about anything anymore. It seems that no matter how I try to understand Janice, we can't seem to get along. Thank you for everything up until now.
I didn't do anything. You were just being a nuisance.
I packed up my belongings, disgusted by Janice's bullying to the end. But as I was about to leave, I heard a voice behind me.
That's enough. Don't you feel embarrassed doing that to her?
Oh, honey, weren't you sleeping?
To my surprise, it was Andy who spoke up.
I pretended to be asleep and stayed awake the whole time. Keith told me to keep an eye on you.
Keep an eye on me?
He told me that you were being terrible to Mara. It's true that I somehow felt that from time to time, but Mara didn't say anything about it, and Keith never asked me for advice. I thought it was just my imagination and was living a normal life. But then Keith asked me about it, secretly. Then I found out that you had said a lot of terrible things to Mara. I'm sure the argument you just had with her would be enough to gather enough evidence.
Oh no! Why would you say such a thing?
Because you're picking on my wonderful daughter-in-law. I recorded what you said just now as well.
What? You're kidding!
This audio, of course, will be played to Keith. I don't know what Keith will do when he gets angry, so you better be careful.
Oh no!
Janice then tried to rush out of the house, but I stood in her way.
Get out of my way!
I don't want to. I texted my husband about this, and he said he would leave early and come home right away. And a few minutes later, my husband came home.
You were doing something terrible to Mara, Mom? I can't take it anymore. Me and Mara are leaving this house for good.
Excuse me? When you two are gone, I'll have to handle both caregiving and housework all by myself.
When Janice said this, Andy responded,
We're getting a divorce. So why don't you just go and live out freely on your own?
Divorce? Live out freely? That's impossible.
I'm kicking you out anyway.
What?
I'm saying that I'm divorcing anyone who would hurt my son's precious partner and bullying my own son's wife. The divorce will be processed immediately, and you are to leave right away.
Janice froze there motionless when Andy said that to her. With no one on her side, Janice did not try to argue anything back. And indeed, Andy and Janice got a divorce. When I asked him if he was happy with how it all turned out after being with her for so many years, he said that he was already disgusted by how Janice was acting, as well as her behavior. He said he couldn't see me putting up with a person like her. I was grateful that Andy helped me like that, even though I had asked my husband for advice. Thanks to Janice and Andy getting a divorce, my days have become more peaceful. I can concentrate on my work, and thanks to the helpers we call during the day to take care of Andy, my husband and I have less work to do. Andy and I are as close as ever, and the three of us live happily together. By the way, Janice has tried to get back together with Andy many times since then, but he has ignored her without taking any action. My husband also takes my side and ignores Janice. Also, I had made Janice give back all the money she received for selling my branded items. Janice often hangs around the house and is treated as a suspicious person, and in the end, she got reported to the police. And the rumor has spread among the neighbors, and she is now living a life of shame. Well, she got what she deserves. I will continue to work hard as I always have, and I will continue to take good care of my husband and Andy, and we will live happily together as a family. Thanks for watching until the end. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to our channel. See you in our next video.
Quickly divorce our son. Someone like you doesn't match with my child. I receive insults like that every single day from my mother-in-law. But even for someone like me, I finally reached my limit. I can't tolerate being with the lowest of people anymore. If you insist that much, let's get divorced as you wish. My name is Madeline. I'm a homemaker. I'm in the middle of newlywed life with my husband Nolan, and every day is filled with happiness. My husband has been the kindest and most understanding person I've ever known since we were dating. Hey Nolan, I want to keep working after we get married. Just because I became a housewife doesn't mean I want to slack off from work.
I understand, Madeline. You have a strong sense of responsibility.
He always respects my opinion, and we both work, sharing household chores. I sincerely think I've married a wonderful man. Despite our abundant happiness, we do have our share of troubles. That's Nolan's mother, who is my mother-in-law. In fact, I'm currently facing mistreatment from my mother-in-law. I see it all the time in dramas and such, but I never thought I'd be in this situation. I can't believe I'm going through all this. I had thought that with a man as kind as him, everything would surely be good when it comes to his mother. But the reality is the opposite of my ideal. It's a continuous stream of sighs every day. My mother-in-law lives in an apartment just a 10 minutes walk from our marital home. Her husband has already passed away, so she lives alone. Since I married Nolan, she has started visiting us almost every day.
Good evening, Madeline.
Oh, Mom, are you here again today?
Why shouldn't I come to my son's house?
It's not like that, but I didn't expect you, so I didn't prepare anything.
Well, clumsy daughter, isn't it common sense to be prepared for whoever might visit at any time? That's what a homemaker should do, right?
I'm sorry. This kind of thing happens regularly. My mother-in-law has a firm grasp of when my husband and I get home. She keeps making sarcastic remarks endlessly, timed to my arrival. Mom, will you have dinner here? With trembling hesitation, I asked, and my mother-in-law furrowed her brows.
Huh?
She let out a sigh.
I don't need your half-hearted cooking. And your room is a mess. What are you thinking?
I'm sorry. I just got back from work, so I haven't had time to tidy up.
In the first place, even though you're married, you're still out there working. Isn't that a problem? If you would properly dedicate yourself to your household and focus on home life, maybe these things wouldn't happen, don't you think?
Well, that might be true, but my mother-in-law sighed deeply and sank into the sofa.
In general, you're constantly working, and you don't seem to care about anything, do you? It's been 6 months since you got married, and you're not even trying to have children. On top of that, the house is a mess. Nolan deserves better in this situation.
No, about having children. And it's only been 6 months since we got married.
Don't answer back. Let me tell you, I accepted your marriage with my son to have an heir, you know.
Oh, that's an heir. With this pattern, unannounced daily visits have become the norm. Moreover, constantly making sarcastic comments like this has been causing significant damage to my mental well-being. And this has been escalating even further recently.
Madeline, did you quit your job today?
On this day as well, my mother-in-law without an appointment wasted no time and immediately blurted out, "No, I haven't quit."
Huh?
My mother-in-law raised her eyebrows quizzically at my response.
Why haven't you quit yet? Instead of lounging around, I've told you repeatedly to quit, haven't I?
Mom, I've also communicated this to you multiple times, right? I have no intention of quitting my job.
What are you saying? I won't allow that. For Nolan's sake, quit your job immediately and focus on housework.
Nolan also understands and supports my work. These decisions are made by both of us, so please don't worry. No matter how much I explained, my mother-in-law did not at all. In fact,
You are manipulating my son.
she starts yelling.
Madeline, enough is enough. I don't want to say these things every single time. Everything would go smoothly if you just did as I say.
Even if you say that, I respond with a sense of bewilderment at my mother-in-law's statement. I find satisfaction in my job, and as for the household chores, I do them properly in cooperation with Nolan.
No excuses. A wife's job is not to go to work. It's about housework and childcare. Since you married into this family, it's only natural that you take care of Nolan's needs and ultimately take care of me as your mother-in-law, right?
That's my mother-in-law.
Oh, it's already this late.
She said this while packing her things and leaving. It seems she doesn't want to run into my husband when he returns home. In front of my husband, she doesn't say a word, and she only unleashes these sarcastic comments when it's just the two of us. Why do I have to put up with all this? As I prepare dinner, I feel a sense of futility, and tears well up. However, I have a sense of pride that if I cry here, I will be admitting defeat. So I wipe away my tears and continue cooking. 15 minutes later, when my husband returned home, I reported the matter about my mother-in-law to him. So today, your mother came over again. Not only does she make sarcastic remarks every time, but recently, she's been telling me to quit my job and focus on household chores. My husband, loosening his tie, laughed.
Mom? Seriously?
It's true. She's always blaming me in a harsh tone. Please, can you say something to her on my behalf?
I don't think my mom would say such things.
Having her come over every day is really stressing me out.
Madeline, you must be tired from work. I think my mom is saying it for our sake. And you're probably being too sensitive, right?
Apparently, my husband sees a different side of his mother. And no matter how much I complain about her, it doesn't align with his image of her. After that, I tried to talk to my husband, but he never took it seriously and always dismissed it as me overthinking. Then one day, a turning point came. I received a message from my husband saying he'd be finishing work early and suggesting we go home together. We arranged to meet at the nearest station before heading home. Along the way, my husband mentioned that he felt like having a drink today, so we decided to buy some alcohol from the supermarket on the way back.
Alright, I will grab some beer on the way back.
Okay, then I will head home first and prepare some simple snacks.
That would be great. I will leave it to you.
It's been a long time since I've had a leisurely drink with my husband. My steps naturally become lighter. I opened the door on a high note and found my mother-in-law standing in front of me.
Madeline, what do you think you are doing at this hour?
As soon as she saw me, my mother-in-law shouted loudly, Oh, Mom!
Working until this late. Do you have the audacity? Have you forgotten what I told you before? Well, today was just... Are you planning to answer back? Even after I told you to quit your job and support Nolan? It seems you still don't understand, do you? Mom, it's not like that. Today Are you still going to shield yourself from me? You are such an impudent wife, aren't you? It's really not cute. No, well... Despite my attempts to explain the situation, my mother-in-law was not at all willing to listen. I was at a loss. That's when... What just happened? A voice came from behind, and there stood my husband. My mother-in-law's face turned pale. She stammered. No, Nolan, why? It's not a matter of why. But what was that just now? No, I mean... I heard everything, you know. I can't believe you are insulting Madeline like that. It's not what it seems, Nolan. Please, listen. She grabs Nolan's arm. There's a reason for this. Nolan coldly pushes her away. A reason? I don't know about that. But even if there were, it was too harsh. My mother-in-law stayed silent for a while. But then, she seems to become defiant. Nolan, you really don't understand, do you? Understand what? My husband calmly responds. Take a good look. It's so inappropriate for a woman to work this late. And she won't even let me see my grandchildren. Don't you think it's strange? Marlene takes pride in her work. What's wrong with that? A wife's job is to take care of the house, her husband's need, and even her mother-in-law's care. But Madeline can't do any of it. Divorce is clearly the best option. My husband looked aghast at my mother-in-law's words. All right, I get it, Mom. You don't like that Madeline is my wife, huh? Huh? Nolan? I exclaimed in surprise. Wait a minute. Why is he suddenly saying this? Why take your mother's side and not mine? My mother-in-law seems to think my husband was on her side, and her eyes lit up. Nolan, do you understand now? Yeah, I get it. I understand that you, Mom, think that way. That's right. That's how it should be. Good job, Nolan. I knew my son would understand. I will talk it over with Madeline, so you don't have to worry anymore. My mother-in-law left with a big smile and a look of triumph on her face. There was an awkward silence between my husband and me. So, Madeline, should we talk about it? Nolan, about what you said earlier, about divorce? I asked hesitantly, and my husband's response was unexpectedly different. Huh? Why would I want to divorce you, Madeline? I don't have even a tiny bit of intention to do that. Huh? But earlier, what was that about? What do you mean? Well, you see... My husband wore a mischievous smile and whispered a certain plan to me. Oh, that sounds interesting. In that moment, I made up my mind to take revenge on my mother-in-law. I had been subjected to her whims for far too long. With all the patience I had exercised until then, I was now ready to push her to her limits. And so, starting the very next day, we began our preparations. We haven't visited my mother-in-law's house since she last visited ours. It was a week later. Mom, it's been a while. We came today because we have something to discuss. Upon hearing my husband's words, my mother-in-law beamed. I've been waiting for this. With excitement, she welcomed us. So what's the report? About that matter from the other day, right? Yes, that's right. I talked it over with Madeline, and we finally reached an agreement. My husband took out a divorce agreement that he had prepared in advance and showed it to my mother-in-law. Well, divorce? What a joyous occasion this is. Now you, Nolan, can find a new wife. Despite my presence, my mother-in-law continued to be insensitive with her words.
but I couldn't hold back any longer and told her, "Mom, you are completely mistaken."
Huh? Just keep quiet.
My mother-in-law glared at me with irritation, shooing me away with a dismissive gesture. I continued despite her harassment. "We are not getting a divorce. We will stay married."
What are you talking about?
"Oh, you didn't hear? Nolan and I are not getting divorced. We came to give you an update on our future plans."
So this isn't about post-divorce matters.
"No, it's not."
Then what is it about?
My mother-in-law raised her voice, looking as if she might attack me at any moment. Seeing this, my husband stepped in between us.
Mom, I've decided to become Madeline's house husband.
Huh? A house husband?
My husband took the divorce agreement and tore it into two right in front of my mother-in-law. Seeing this,
Oh, the divorce agreement.
my mother-in-law exclaimed,
I will say it again. We're not getting divorced. I won't do what you said. I love Madeline from the bottom of my heart.
Just wait a minute, Nolan. What on earth is going on? I won't allow you to become a house husband.
I don't need your permission. This is my decision. I won't follow your orders anymore.
What are you talking about? You're my only son. What about carrying on the family name? What about taking care of me?
I'm cutting ties with you, Mom. Why should I consider the family's affairs? There is no successor, no caregiving here. Our family's legacy ends with my generation.
No, that's...
My mother-in-law slumped down and wore an expression of utter despair.
All right, let's go.
My husband took my hand, and my mother-in-law clung to his legs, starting to cry out in a tearful voice.
Wait! I was wrong! I will apologize! So please forgive me! I won't do it again! Don't cut ties with me! If you leave, I will truly be all alone!
Regardless of her pleas, neither my husband nor I had any sympathy for my mother-in-law. We proceeded with this plan with our own determination.
Mom, it's already decided.
My husband's words brought tears to my mother-in-law's eyes. I too spoke firmly to her. Thank you for everything, Mom. Nolan and I will be happy here. Both my parents have already given their approval for this plan, so don't worry.
Madeline, please wait. I want to apologize to you too. Please don't go.
Thank you for everything you have done for me, Mom. Well then, with those parting words, my husband and I left his family home. Afterward, my mother-in-law contacted us to apologize multiple times, but her persistence led us to change our phone number. Since then, we haven't received any further messages from her. On the occasion of our move, we relocated to a different place, effectively starting our lives anew. Later, we learned that my mother-in-law still believed we were living in our previous apartment, so she would stand outside the entrance, shouting her apologies. That didn't last long, as complaints arrived from the neighborhood. Eventually, she ended up in the care of the police. It seems that the neighbors are spreading rumors that she is a pitiful person who was estranged from her son and his wife due to harassment. On the other hand, we have returned to the peaceful days we used to have. Nolan, I'm sorry. You've gone this far for my sake.
What are you talking about? I don't want to make someone important to me sad. It's only natural.
I see. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nolan's gentle words naturally warmed my heart. I'm so glad he's not someone with outdated, old-fashioned views like my mother-in-law. I can continue to live happily with him. I can confidently say that it's great to be with this person, and I'm glad we are together.